Right now, I want to talk about gambling. The NHS Mental Health Director, Claire Murdoch, has announced gambling industry funding for addiction clinics are going to be stopped. But the NHS has claimed it's going to fully fund 2 new specialist clinics in May to help face a record demand for serious gambling addiction. The decision, get this, it follows feedback from the patients and clinicians that are opposing the conflict of interest from the gambling industry, which generates profits, by the way, of over £14 billion a year. It got me thinking, this one. As I said earlier on in my intro, there's over 2 million people in the UK that are thought to have a problem with gambling. Of course, I'm not suggesting that they all need to go into NHS treatment, but a number of them do. And personally, I do believe, actually, that the gambling industry should indeed be responsible for helping at least part fund some of these treatments. Scarlett Maguire, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, clearly the gambling industry doesn't just help this addiction, or it isn't an accident. I mean, the gambling industry feeds gambling addiction. We know that. They take addicts, they persuade addicts to go and think. I do think it matters where the money comes from, because it means that the gambling industry are in there. I mean, if you're paying for something, you're saying how it should be promoted, how it should work. I completely understand that gambling addicts actually want to go somewhere to get away from gambling, not something that's paid by the industry.
And you know, the last time we did this, and I think you might have even been on.
I was. I think they're scum.
But the reason I bring it up is because if my memory serves me correct, and I think it does, when we spoke about gambling, and you were saying exactly what you just said then, these companies are scum, I had so many viewers right into me saying, well, hang about, because actually when you look back in history and you look at the Labour Party's contribution towards the gambling industry, people were telling me, and please remind me if you were one of them telling me, because I'm sure you'll email again that we're talking about it, actually fueled the expansion of things like betting shops. And people were really taking issue with that.
No, I mean, and I think they're right. And I think Tony Blair was totally wrong about it, actually.
Gordon Brown as well.
What?
Gordon Brown.
I mean, what they said was that I mean, basically, they were lobbied by the gambling industry. The gambling industry was very successful, and they had this view that if you didn't allow the gambling industry to set up their shops, then everything would go online. They were completely wrong. It was wrong of them to do it. And yeah, I mean, the Labour government did not get everything right, as I'm sure Dan would agree.
Dan? Do you agree?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right in terms of the facts. I mean, I think it was Gordon, wasn't it, who came up with the idea of the super casinos. But no, I've got to be honest. No, I don't agree with this. I think this description of the gambling industry as scum is frankly ludicrously over the top. I mean, there are millions and millions of people in this country who enjoy a bet, they enjoy going to the races, they enjoy betting on sport. And in terms of the great panoply of terrible activity that people engage in, I actually think gambling is pretty low down the list. And I think
I'm talking about the companies. I'm not talking about the people who do it. I'm talking about the companies who go on feeding it, who take the addicts and persuade them to spend more money. I think it's terrible.
There are two things. You can't divorce, in a sense, the activity from the people who do it, and you can't simply say, well, I think that the provision of this, the people who provide this services are scum, but those who access this and enjoy access
how they provide them. Dan, we know that they encourage problem gamblers to spend more money.
But look, there have been issues within the gambling sector, and the gambling industry are quite clearly doing stuff to address that, which is how this segment was framed. I mean, this segment was framed by saying the gambling industry are attempting to provide practical assistance.
Well, no, hang on. They have to get in order to get their licence. They're compelled actually 0.1% of their things to gamble away.
They are providing practical assistance to people who suffer from gambling addiction. When they provide that assistance, they're attacked for providing that assistance, and people turn around and say, "We don't want money."
It's rejected. The assistance has been rejected by the NHS. It is that that I find absolutely bonkers, James.
Well, I wish more often on these discussions in life, Michelle, we interrogated the category. You know, what is the category? Addiction. Are we really saying that gambling is an addiction? You know, there are problem gamblers. I think there are about 300,000 in the country altogether. According to the ONS, their number is not increasing. Now, are we saying it's chemically addictive or biologically founded or whatever?
Well, some people will say an addiction is a medical illness, yes, whether that's to tobacco, alcohol, gambling, whatever.
Yeah, but what we're denying in that scenario is adult responsibility, the fun which Dan talks about, the fact that I went to Mecca Bingo in Halifax a few years ago and I made a full recovery from the habit I developed. That you missed that one, Michelle.
No, I didn't. I didn't miss it.
You know,
I didn't miss it.
People recover from these problems.
No, I didn't miss it. I just didn't think it was funny because you've been to Mecca Bingo, as I've been to Mecca Bingo. You want to see me at Mecca Bingo? In fact, I have all the different books and I have Dabber and I'm awesome at it. But that's fine because I don't have a problem. If you're someone who has an addiction. And I'm familiar with alcohol addiction. I'm not familiar with gambling addiction, but there are people.
Is it the same?
Well, there are people, and you might be watching actually, or you might be affected, or you might know of an addict. Because the problem is with some of these addictions, they take a hold not only just of the addict's life, by the way, James, the whole kind of system around them, the families.
Yeah, well, this is well known, but you know. Do we want to medicalise the problem? Do we want to deny their adult responsibility? Could we think about better jobs or better leisure facilities or all the other factors or the family relationships that bring about these things? Can we not go to the root of the problem rather than just medicalising it, talking about dependency and being addicted to the metaphor of addiction? That's what I oppose, Michelle, because we're supposed to be shopaholics, chocoholics, addicted to sex, addicted to nearly everything. I don't think that's true. I think it's demeaning of people.
Well, there you go. Let me throw that open to you at home, the viewers. What do you think there? To James's point, I'll end on that one, actually. Do you think that addiction is actually a medical thing that people have no control over? Or do you think it's just basically all in the mind and people need to... I hope I'm not paraphrasing you. I was just about to say get a grip, but I didn't want to insult him, but he just said it himself. Snap out of it. There you go. If you are an addict or if you've been affected by an addict, do you think you can control it or it could have been controlled? GB Views at gbnews.uk or tweet me at Michelle Tubes or at GB News.